found it being the curator for the festival?
Well, I think it's a very successful format that you've got here because it's a clear brief. The festival is interested in thinking about the transition from one literary medium to another. It's been an opportunity to choose a lot of my favourite films, and some that I know very well, some that I think I remember liking, and so on. So I've seen quite a lot of films myself this week, and seems to be the audiences seem to be very responsive and lively.
What's next for you? Have you got anything in the pipeline? Or?
Well, I have two projects coming up. One is I've written a musical based on the film The Third Man, which is going to rehearsal next week in London. And then I've written a screenplay based on a novel by Jonathan Coe called Mr. Wilder. That was my idea. I read, in the sense that I read the novel and somehow could see a film in it, which was not the novel. I was able to get in touch with Jonathan Coe and say, look, I'd just like to take this aspect of your novel and make a film about that. And he was happy and has been very cooperative, and I showed him the script, first draft, and he liked it very much.
Hi, I'm Ziggy Gray, and I am the duty manager and steward coordinator for Bridport Page to Screen.
I'd love to ask you kind of how you got your start working for the From Page to Screen Festival and how long you have been working here.
So I actually worked at the Art Centre. This was back in sort of 2012 after I graduated from uni. And I think they were just looking at somebody to come in and organise all the stewards. And I came in then, so that was, 2013 would have been the first festival that I did. And then on and off, I think this is my 5th or 6th year of helping, but I'm not here consecutively, so I just jump in.
How have you found kind of working for the festival?
It's really nice. It's nice to be part of back in Bridport community, back in the building, and being around everybody and working with everybody. And it's really nice.
Yeah, it must be great fun. I mean, have there been any times where I imagine like running the whole festival, sometimes we see you kind of obviously running around and having a million things to do. I can imagine at points it's stressful, but do you kind of, even in those moments, still kind of enjoy what you do?
Oh, I thrive off of it.
Oh yeah.
it's that you're stressed and there's lots happening and you're trying to oversee, yourselves, the stewards, the bar, the front of house, making sure the guests are comfy, putting the tables on, making sure tickets are sold, all that kind of stuff, all in, and it all happens within the space of an hour. Then you've got the film where you sit there and go, whoa, back, calm and collected again, and then go. But it's that constant turnover, and having the small breaks, which is,
I imagine you need running shoes to do that, having to constantly just ping back and forth.
Comfy shoes and big pockets.
Yes.
Stick everything in your pockets.
My name's Jack Whiteman, and I'm part of the festival committee for From Page to Screen.
First of all, I'd like to ask, how long have you been obviously working so closely with the festival, and how long have you been a committee member as well?
So I started with the festival just last year. So there was one of my friends that was working with the festival, and they just needed someone for the stewarding.
Oh yeah.
And they said, I know someone I can rope in for that. So they brought me on, and I think it was quite quickly clear that I'm a film geek.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, this might be a good person to have on the committee. So it's the first that's the first year that I've been properly with the committee, helping make decisions and working with them like that. And it's been brilliant. They've been really great because they just welcomed me in straight away and made me really feel part of the whole process.
Yeah, definitely. I've noticed that with kind of everyone around here. They just feel very like welcoming and open. And
I think that's just part of Bridport as well. It's got such a great community feel. Everyone loves to be part of these kind of creative endeavours, and it's just an extension of that. It's a great team to be part of.
With being part of the committee, what decisions do you make being a part of that, and how long in advance do you plan for each festival, for like this festival even?
It was a few months discussion and planning and ideas about who do we want to curate this, who could we reach out to, what contacts have we got. Some ideas as well around the theme and maybe how that even relates to some of the creators that we might have. So when we were looking at Christopher Hampton, we thought, well, his career in film starts roughly in 1973 with A Doll's House. And it coincides with a sort of a 50-year span that the Arts Centre has as well. That's sort of timeline. So that felt like a really nice way to coincide both celebrations. And it's those kind of thoughts about, what can we start to show, and come up with sort of a list to suggest ideas for films But really we want the creators to guide it and say, do you know what, I'd love to see this on big screen again. And that's the excitement of it, to get their input.
I would love to ask as well about kind of just your personal endeavours, because you're a filmmaker yourself.
Yeah.
How long have you been kind of in the filmmaking business for?
Well, I've done a lot of freelance for quite a while. I do videography for a fashion brand, so that's lots of interview pieces and promotional pieces, things like that.
Yeah.
Outside of that, lots of freelance work. That's just, well, it can be anything, quite random projects, as I'm sure you know.
Yep.
But also just trying to do your own projects like narrative fiction, those kind of things. And just trying to get those off the ground.
That's amazing.
I work with there's a really lovely group based in Bridport called Chasing Cow as well, and they're all young filmmakers, and they're a great bunch, and they have like a magazine that they put out. So yeah, it's the creative spirit of Bridport.
Hi, I'm Richard Eyre. I'm a director, film, theatre and opera.
Where did you get your start in direction and in kind of the art industry as well?
It's very hard to say. We're in Bridport. I grew up about 5 miles from here. The first proper play I saw was in Bristol when I was 16, and it was a play called Hamlet, and I was completely blown away by it. And the actor playing Hamlet was Peter O'Toole. And so that was a sort of epiphany. That was when I started to get interested. I got passionately interested in theatre and films. And when I left university, I became an actor. And it took me about 3 years to admit to myself I wasn't good enough. And I got together some actors to direct a production in the theatre, Sunday night production, and from that came offers to direct.
Obviously, you said you've worked in theatre and film, but you've also mentioned you've worked in directing opera.
Yeah.
How was that as an experience? Because I've not actually had a chance to ask about that with anyone.
I was very, very prejudiced against opera, because I thought this is an inferior sort of theatre. And then I thought, this is so stupid, because this is like blaming an apple for not being an orange.
Yeah.
I've loved doing opera.
Yeah.
And I kind of love whatever I do, and I don't feel, although I might go from opera to directing a film, I don't feel in any medium, oh, I wish I was doing an opera. I wish I wasn't with a film crew. I wish there weren't 50 people in the room when I'm doing this very, very quiet scene with 2 actors. You just accept the condition, the context, and try and do your best and be truthful.
I found this film extremely moving and unexpected. You've had a sort of a long relationship with Alan Bennett, haven't you? You started doing work for his on television.
I did. I thought you were going to say I had a long relationship with Bridport.
And you have a long relationship with Bridport, which is also true.
I feel, as the Russians say, my heart is full. Being in this cinema, where I came, I think, from about the age of 14, a lot of my formative influences in film were in this very building. But Alan Bennett, yes, I knew Alan through friends of friends, and then in the mid-80s, I had a script plopped through my letterbox in London, and it was from Alan Bennett. It was called The Insurance Man, and attached to it was a note from Alan saying, "Can you make anything of this?"
I would like to thank you very much, Richard. I should tell you that Richard is directing a play in Chichester, which is with Eileen Atkins, which is about to open, and has come here on a Sunday in the middle of the final rehearsals. So I think we should show our appreciation.